Hey guys, so this is the first official Halo Brute Weapons build of the series that I'm doing of 9 weapons, of all the Brute weapons from the Halo games, except for the red plasma rifle, because that's basically just an elite weapon that's been modified slightly. So the first one is actually one that isn't in any of the games. As far as I can tell, it's only in a graphic novel or two. I'm not sure, I haven't actually read it, but that's the only source that I could find. It's the Brute Combat Knife. And it's pretty much a heavy blade, and when I was originally looking at this, it seemed very impractical, really kind of dumb actually, but looking at it more, it's a heavy blade, it's almost a kukri style shape. If you take off that point and you went straight back, it'd be basically like a kukri, which is a very effective weapon. So it's sharpened all the way along this edge. This back edge is not sharpened except for this edge right there. The spikes aren't sharpened. It's almost sawtooth spikes. I'm going to do a wooden handle. It's got a thick crossguard, and then this piece right above the crossguard, which I'm not sure what that's called. I'm sure somebody can tell me. So how I'm doing this, I don't have a big enough piece of steel to cut the entire thing out of a solid piece. Yes, that will make it weaker. This is tool steel. It will make it weaker having this blade piece as one and then the handle as one, but I'm welding it. This is weldable even though it's hardened, which is really handy, but I'm cutting it at an angle which makes it far stronger, and I'm having the split right where this piece is welded on. There's a piece on each side, so it'll sandwich it together and really strengthen that, and actually this will end up being the strongest part of the entire blade because of that cross piece. And I'm probably going to plate it with wood for a nice wooden handle. But anyway, you've seen this stuff before. It's a hardened steel. Again, I don't know what it is, some kind of tool steel, but I don't have to heat treat it. How it comes, unless I forge it, the process that I use doesn't heat it up enough to detemper it, and so I can actually just cut it right out and sharpen it. As long as I don't get it too hot while I'm sharpening it, it does not lose its hardness or its temper, which is really nice. That's why I use it, because I don't have a good forge to heat treat, and so I just use this stuff, and it's great. So that is all there is to it as far as I know. So I'll stick this thing on my chest as usual, and you can see the process. Here is the handle piece. that was a good 2 hours worth of grinding right there, but I think it looks awesome. So now I am putting the cross guard on, and that is going to get welded to this side of the handle. Actually, I could weld it either way. Actually, these go on first, and then the cross guard gets welded to those with the gap there. So I fill that gap, that way the weld isn't sticking out, and then I polish it up and everything and put a handle on it, and it's good to go. And this is getting welded on the edges and the inside, not on the blade at all. It's the blade itself. Well, I found this stuff. I have no idea what it is or where it came from, but it's here, so I'm going to use it. Alright, so now that this is relatively cool, I'm going to take these blocks and I'm going to glue them with this GeoCell roof sealing bonding stuff. Anyway, I've used it for a bunch of other stuff, used it for armor padding and for handles similar to this, though usually it's a plastic that I'm gluing, not wood, but it should work great for this. So the idea is I'm going to sandwich them on, clamp them, leave them overnight, and then tomorrow I can shape them and sand them to a good, you know, non-blocky, non-ridiculously large handle. Alright, well, we will look at that tomorrow and see how it turns out. I really, really, really despise wood. But that kind of looks good. Getting wood all over my metal. It's everywhere. It's all over my hammer. In spite of it being wooden, I actually really like the handle. It's got a good feel to it. Makes you want to go and lobotomize somebody. But of course I can't leave it nice, new wood. That's not too bad for somebody who hates woodworking with a burning passion. Well, I like how that turned out, in spite of having a wooden handle on it, you know. But I really like this. I would actually love to carry this around as my everyday carry, except that it's gigantic and probably illegal anywhere I go because it's double-edged. For those of you who don't know, it's actually illegal to carry double-edged knives in Oregon, of all places, where everything else is legal. So I would not be able to have this anywhere aside from on my property or at the shop or, you know, on private property where I know the people and they're okay with it. But it looks awesome, and I'm going to definitely mount this on my wall in my house. But anyway, that's it for the build, and now we are going to do a quick test with it. Alright, so we've established that it'll handle fruit really well, like any weapon typically will, but we will see how it handles bone. This is a elk rib bone, or a cow rib bone. I'm not entirely sure. The legs are massive, so I don't think it'll go through that. But a rib, no problem. Alright, so it broke that, no problem. It dinged up the edge pretty badly though. But the edge gets really fine towards the very end because it's such a deep grind. And so I kind of expected that, not that bad, but I did expect it to do something like that. But that's what grinders are for. And again, I did not heat treat this. This is the preheated, pre-tempered plate that I use. And so grinding it does detemper it a little bit. So it is probably softer than it could be if I was to heat treat it. But I don't do that. All right, go for it. Alright, so when I first saw the design for this, and I only found 3 reference pictures on the internet anywhere, so it isn't well known, but I thought it was really, really like crazy and practical. But after trying it and seeing it kill things, it's actually pretty practical. This hook is actually way more practical than I thought it would be. Good for torturing things and cutting, you know, pineapple with it and stuff like that. The spikes are not practical because they aren't saw teeth. You couldn't use them as a utility anything, but really I think it's a ceremonial knife over all practicality, even though it's supposed to be a combat knife. But you know, it's just gonna hang on my wall now, so it's all good. Also remember, all of my weapons is kind of an interpretation, so I'm not trying to make it exactly the same. Like, I couldn't find any references for the handle, so I just kind of did what looked good. Everything else I tried to make it as close as I could, but I kind of have a little artistic leeway here. So don't like stone me or anything. But yeah, that is it. And next week we are going to have that. We're testing it right now, but we will have the video of the build and the test on this next week. I'm sure you recognize it from the Halo games. Brute Spike Grenade. Again, this is a series on brute weapons. This is not from any of the games, graphic novel. This obviously is. So we're going to stab stuff with this, and you'll see that next week. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you then.